Hi, my name is Didi Armstrong. I'm an author, playwright, script consultant, and a volunteer mentor and role model. So what has my journey been to get me to this point so far? Basically, West London boy, born and raised. Had a little bit of a colourful background. I guess my journey really started from an early age. Grew up with my two brothers, single mum, council estate, so a lot like a lot of the young kids out here nowadays. And growing up in school, I didn't really have my priorities straight, and I didn't really aim for stuff. One of the things I went into school just to have fun, really, and eventually I ended up getting expelled, leaving with I left with 4 GCSEs, luckily. Do you know what I mean? Like I had a chance to take my GCSE, my exams, but I didn't get the chance to go to a centre or anything like that. And so from the age of say 15, 16, I became criminally active, and that sort of led me down a road it wasn't good for me, but at the same time, when I was caught up in in situations, I went with what was going on around me, and eventually that brought me to a spell of incarceration, which really put the brakes on for me, and asked me to start looking at my life and which direction I wanted it to go in. And so from that point on, returning back to road and stuff like that, I decided I wanted to change my life a bit and what direction I wanted to do. While I was incarcerated, I learned a passion for reading and writing. Before I went to jail, I'd never read a book from front to back, and I got in a cell, and I got with an older cellmate, and I was talking about, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna get big and whatever not now, and he said to me, allow all of that, D, forget all of that, like, can you read a book? Can you read a book, like, from front to back? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can, and that's nothing, innit? And it took me two weeks to read my first book from front to back, and that first book was Bram Stoker's Dracula, and from that I developed a passion for reading and literature, and that became the catalyst for everything that I wanted to do afterwards. It never came straight away, but eventually it came. I came home. My son was born while I was in jail, and that was another turning point for me because I wasn't there for him at that point. And when I came home with new responsibilities, and I had to find work, I had to find things that took me away from the person and the things I had been doing beforehand, and it wasn't an easy route. Eventually, I was working in a production house as a runner, and that brought me closer to films and stuff like that. And I started to write like I'd been writing I got made redundant, and at this point of being made redundant, it was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'd had very little skills, very little training, work experience, and so I instinctively went back to what I knew, which was being on road and doing certain things on road with my friends, and I was back on road and I was doing my bits and bobs, and I just wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't like how it was before, and I realised that I was risking a lot of things just to be here doing a road thing. And so I said to myself, no, I'm going to try something different. And I sat down and I put myself in a self-imposed isolation, and I said that I wanted to write. For me, while I was away, writing letters, writing short stories was something that was very cathartic to me, which cathartic means like to purge something from your soul. And so I was able to express myself in ways that possibly sometimes there's situations you don't want to tell to your friends or your family or whatever, not how you feel about that, and that sits on you. And so in terms of literature and reading and writing, it allowed me to express how I felt, but not necessarily write that situation, but use it in a fictional way. And through that, it helped me to develop characters that dealt with some of the issues that I wanted to deal with. And so as I was back on road and I was having these same sort of feelings, I said to myself I wanted to do something, and like I said, I put myself in self-imposed isolation for about 5 months, and I started to write my first novel, the manuscript for my first novel, which is called Lynch's Road. And during this time, I'd be writing my story, Lynch's Road, which is about a shot from West London who has a coming of age story, and he decides to write his own autobiography. His autobiography is read by 3 different characters who all draw insight from his story. And so I was developing these characters that would say something about the environment that I had grown up in, about the environment that we try to get, that we say that we're not a part of. There's certain parts in society that, as young black men or young people from working class backgrounds or from the States, we look at and say, oh, that's not for us, that's not for me, da 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 da. And so I was writing about characters from that society that looked and how they perceived us, and characters from our own society, how we perceive them. And so that's the basis of the book. And while I'm writing this, I had friends calling me saying, yeah, bro, like, yeah, come, I've got a move for us, let's go and do this and let's go and do that. And I was like, no, I'm doing something. And they're like, eventually one of my best friends, like, he said to me, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because he wants to know why I'm turning down money. Like, what have I got that's so good that I'm turning down money? And I was like, bruh, you know, like, I'm writing a book. And he said, what? What do you mean you're writing a book? I said, no, I'm writing a book, innit? And he's like, about what? I was like, about road, innit? About a man, innit? Like that now. He was like, behave yourself, like, behave, like, da, da, da. And he laughed. And I laughed along with him. But I carried on doing my thing. And by the end of 5 months, I'd written a manuscript. And that was my first real personal achievement, because I hadn't done great in anything else other than sports and whatever like now. And so I had that sense of achievement, and knowing what I read, it made sense to me, I can do something like this. And so I went out and I went to look for mentors and stuff like that, and eventually someone hooked me up with the Arts Council, and the Arts Council brought me in. They read a couple of sample chapters and stuff like that, and basically they said, yeah, we think it's really good, like, we'd like to help you. And so they gave me a grant for £5 grand. And that was the first thing. So that was the first thing that got me on the road. And they said, we want to get you a mentor. So who would you like to be mentored by? So I asked for Kotia Newland and Alex Wheatle. I read their books while I was in jail, and these books were the first books for me, Brixton Rock by Alex Whittle and The Scholar by Kotia Newland. These were the first books that really inspired me, because they were books about people like me, written by people like me. Kotia he's from West London originally, and he was writing about a fictional estate, but his estate was based on White City, which was an estate in the West London area that was close to me. And so when he was talking about places like White City and Ladbroke Grove and stuff, and he was talking about certain roads, I recognised them while I was away, and I got excited about them. And that's what really sort of inspired me to say that I wanted to write my own story when the time came. And so, lo and behold, like a year or 2 later, like I was being mentored by these guys on how to write and stuff like that. I had the £5 grand grant, which helped me like not have so much burdens to go and find money and stuff like that. And that was the first start. And these guys really, they really sort of taught me about my craft, where I was going wrong, how to refine it, and how to open up and network with other people and get me other places. Like, I carried on writing. Like, you always have that euphoria where you think, yeah, I'm gonna go and get a book deal and stuff like that. But things don't always happen like that. And so I still carried on working and stuff like that. And then eventually, towards the end of 2009, a cousin of mine, he had a friend that was working, and they wanted to set up a small publishing label. And so Smash and Grab, they set up Smash and Grab. And basically, my cousin took a couple of chapters to his friend, and they came back and they said, yeah, listen, can we read the whole manuscript? And I was like, yeah, all right then. And then they came back a little later and they were like, we want to publish this, we want to publish this. It was like, we want to do like what they do in America with the street literature out there, and we don't think there's anyone who's writing any stories like this, and we want to publish it. Would you want to do like that now? They were like, we ain't got money to offer you in advance, but we want to start off with 250 books. We'll give you a percentage on the books, and we'll see how it goes from there. So I was just like, yeah, go on then, because I sent my manuscript off to the bigger publishers, Bloomsbury and stuff like that, and you know, you got the rejection letters, you get rejection letters, but here was somebody that was saying they wanted to do something on a small level, and I could get in early and be a part of that and get a bigger percentage of the profits. And so I just said, yeah, go with it. Like, you know, we come from a hustler's mentality. These guys wanted to hustle my product, so you know, they wanted to put it in an arena that I couldn't get in. So I went with them, and within the first 3 months, they sold 250 books, and they doubled up and did 500, and we've gone on to sell over 2,000 books now. And I've gone up and down the country promoting the book and stuff like that, been into schools, prisons, pupil referrals, doing readings and stuff, and working with people that are interested about the book and what I've got to say. And I was still working at the time. Earning a new job, working as a studio engineer. And at the beginning of 2011, I found myself being made redundant. And so at this point, I had to ask myself, what did I want to do again? And so I was like, well, now, having put out the book and had some marginal success writing, I said that I wanted to, you know, pursue my writing a bit more. And basically, I saw an advert in the Evening Standard for a course at Regent's University for MA for screen and stage writing. And at the time, I didn't know the difference between an MA, which is a Master's of Arts, and a BA, which is a Bachelor's of Arts. The Bachelor's is the first degree, and the MA is like a postgraduate degree. So I didn't know the difference. So my sister encouraged me to phone, and I phoned up, and I was like, hey, I'd like to get some information about the MA on screen and stage writing. And the lady was like, oh yeah, this is a postgraduate course, and you need a 2-1 degree. Do you have it? And I was like, yeah, I do, like that now. So she carried on telling me about the course, and she sent out the prospectus, and I saw the prospectus, and I was like, I really want to do this, but I didn't have the qualifications to do it. And I phoned my sister, and I was like, Simone, why'd you make me phone? I felt like an idiot, blah, blah, blah. She was like, phone them again, find out whether they have like a BA course. And she phoned up, because I was saying, I'm not going to do it. She said, so she phoned up, and she said how like, my brother's had, he doesn't have the qualifications, but he has worked on a feature-length film. I've got experience working on adulthood for Noel Clarke as a script consultant. I'm a close friend of Noel's cousin, and obviously because of some of my experiences, Noel asked me just to consult on the script. It was a really good experience working with him, because he brought me in and sat down, went through the script with him. I was like, that can work, that can't work, da, 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 da. And then he brought me onto the set, and I saw how like how a thing goes from a script to film. And so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get into the screen and stage writing. And so once the university had heard that I had my own book published, and that I'd worked on a feature film, they were like, wow, well, there's like exceptional cases, and you might want to apply for the exceptional cases, and there's a scholarship that goes along with that. So immediately my sister phoned me, you numpty, basically she told me the ins and outs, and I just started filling out the application form. Had to write like about 500 words for my scholarship, to apply for my scholarship, and luckily enough, like I just put my whole heart into it and took the risk, came out of my comfort zone and said, yeah, go for it. A month later, got an interview, and yeah, that opened up the door for me to get my MA. Had the interview, was sweating buckets, but luckily I got through, and then that just opened up more and more doors. I did my MA in screen and stage writing, so I'm a qualified Master of Arts. And then while I was doing my MA, I applied for work experience down at the BBC, managed to get into the BBC writers room and started networking there, learning about script reading and stuff like that. Met with a number of actors and writers and stuff like that. Then I graduated May 2013, and 2013 was a big year for me because I had my first theatre play produced. I started off with a rehearsed reading with Talawah Theatre, they're Britain's premier primary-led black theatre, and they gave me a rehearsed reading of my first play, which is about racism in football, called You Know What You Are, and it starred Gary Beadle, who played Paul Truman in EastEnders, Calvin Denbar, who plays Jay from Youngers in E4 Youngers, and another small cast. That got picked up by Fringe Theatre in Birmingham. I went on for a small production there, and since then I've been writing steadily, consulting on other scripts, consulted on Femi Oyeniran's It's a Lot, which came out last October, consulted on a number of plays as well, and I've recently started working as a volunteer role model, and that takes me through prisons to high schools to pupil referral units all along the country, and just talking about how to overcome obstacles. And in October last year, I was invited to Buckingham Palace to meet the Queen for some of the work that I've done. So, you know, for me personally, I think I've seen the from one end to the other end, and I'd always sit and promote to any young person coming through that if you have the vision for where you want to be, you can always make it. Yeah. So, what are my 5 top tips? Firstly, find something that you're passionate about. If you're passionate about something, then you won't lose. When you have your high points, you'll have your high points and they'll be rewarding. But when you have your low points, you still have something to draw back on, yeah? So find something that you're passionate about. Once you've found that thing that you're passionate about, I guess number 2 is learn your craft. Learn what it is that's gonna make you succeed. So look at who's at the top, like look at some people who've been at the top and have sort of dipped and why they've dipped. Like learn your craft. 3, network. Don't be afraid to network with people and open up to new ideas and collaborate with other people, because like that person, you tell that person, oh, I want to write, or I want to sing, or they can say, oh, yeah, well I do that, so I can help you here, or I might know someone who can help you there. So networks is a very important thing. Number 4, develop a thick skin. Like there's always going to be people that tell you like, oh, you can't do that. My best friend told me I couldn't do that. You get me? Like, but then once I've written the book and I was getting it published, he was like, bruv, I wish I never laughed at you. And it's like, I don't want to take it to heart, because he didn't mean anything by it. But if I didn't have that thick skin, I may have given up. So number 4 for me is develop a thick skin. And number 5 is set yourself goals. Like set yourself proper goals and targets. Like literally say what it is you want. Don't be afraid to say it, and then work backwards on how you can get it. So start off small. Like have the big idea, but then work out what's the small things that's going to get you to that big idea. And once you've got your plan, like plan your work and work your plan. It's as simple as that. Plan your work and work your plan. That's my 5 top tips. Tell us 5 things we don't know about you. Well, I think I've probably told you a few stuff already that you don't know about me, but I tell you, I tell you what, I'm a big Chelsea fan. You get me? Yes, Mourinho's back. No, we didn't win nothing this year, but there's always another season. And what's another thing? I won't go through five, but I'll tell you one more thing. I like pistachio ice cream. What? Who inspires you? My attitude and style. Why? I'm inspired by a number of different people, and I think that it's always good that you take inspiration, whether it's in your field or not, from different people. Obviously, I'm inspired by like great black leaders from the past, so like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela himself, the late Nelson Mandela. But then also on a level, in terms of my own industry, I'm inspired by some of the young people that I see coming and doing their things, like the Jamal Edwards, the Skeptors, you know, like Dizzy and that, like, you know, those type of people that they put something in, and you might not agree with everything that they do in their field and stuff like that, but there's something in what they're doing that's inspiring. That's something that maybe you think, oh, right, if I want to compete, that's the level that I can compete at. So for me, yeah, there's always something. It could be anything that inspires me from a day to day. As a writer, you take little inspirations from, say, like the mum at the park with her child, and that there may have just been something that I looked and I thought, oh, I'm inspired to write a story about that. So I take inspiration from a lot of different places. Share your top wows, words of wisdom, proverbs, philosophies that helped you to guide you through. I think I've already hit on one, which is plan your work and work your plan. That's like my biggest words of wisdom to anybody, because I think, like once I said before, it's something that anybody can apply. Again, for me, just like if I could give people words of wisdom, it's just believe in yourself, trust in your own instincts, trust that you know what's good for you, you know, and trust that if 9 out of 10 people are telling you that ain't the right way to go, then 9 out of 10 people is a good chance that's not the right way to go. So actually, I just want to go back. There was a question that said like people that inspire you, and I wanted to say Eric Thomas. If you lot get a chance, check out Eric Thomas on the YouTube, E.T. the Hip Hop feature. He has a lot of words of wisdom to give out there, so yeah. Which tracks, songs or music compilations inspire you and why? That's a good one. That is a good one. I have to say, in the past, I've been inspired by certain Jay-Z tracks and whatever. Now I came and I heard them, and at the time it'd be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. There was Nas back in the day, Mobb Deep. Now I guess I'm trying to think what really inspired me. What song, standout song? There's a song by Sam Cooke called Change that I don't know why, whenever I hear that song, like it always sends shivers down my spine, and it's sort of like it's about a person who's saying that change is going to come, change is going to come, change is going to come. And there's been times when I felt down or whatever not, and I've heard this song and I've always looked back and thought, yeah, my change is going to come, one day my change is going to come. And in the song, Sam Cooke speaks about how this guy's always looking for change, and there's certain other people that are holding it back from him. And I think for me, that's always a powerful song to hear, that one, Change is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. What is your best wow from a track? Wow, words of wisdom, what's my best wow words of wisdom from a track? I think, it's another good one, good question. My words of wisdom from a track. I'm going to put that to the side and come back to that one. I'm going to put that back to the side and come back. What's the craziest thing you have done to pursue your dreams? Yeah, I'll give you, when I was first writing, to get confidence. I wasn't sure whether my writing was good, and you always give your stuff to friends and family, and they say, oh yeah, it's good, whatever, not now. But sometimes that doesn't really, it doesn't have the same gravity or weight. And so one of the things that I first did when I was first writing was I wrote like a short story, and I literally just printed it off, jumped on the train one time, and I just put it on a chair. Do you know what I mean? And I just put it on a chair, and it just said, the front page just said, read me. And I sat like just a little bit over there, and I was watching, and you know, first person got on, picked it up, moved it over to the side, And eventually this one man picked it up, looked at it, and he started reading it. And I'm watching, and he's reading, he comes to his stop, and he puts it down, and just as he's about to get off, he runs back and picks it up, and then he ran off. And so with it, so I thought, like, yeah, that must have been a hot chapter still, you get me? And so I think that was one of the first things that I did to get confidence. And I think sometimes you need those little things to get confidence, but you need to do crazy things, you know, take that leap of faith. So yeah, take a minute to comment on a subject that you feel compelled or motivated, and to inspire other people to think about. I'd like to speak about the image of young black and working class men. Like, I've been in a number of schools, pupil referral units, prisons themselves, and what concerns me is about like the image that we have for ourselves, and the image that other people have for ourselves, and importantly, I meet a lot of young men that they say they have low self-esteem, and you look at some of the things that they aspire to, and it's people say it's wrong, but they're never really given that anything else, never offered anything else. When you see, especially young black men, when you see images of young black men in TV or film, it's always generally quite negative. And then also the way sometimes society deals with them in terms of, say, education system and stuff like that, there's always a negative connotation under it, or there's a negative stigma, and it's really hard for young black men and working class men to sort of overcome that image. I feel for myself, growing up, I became sort of institutionalized into the way I thought that as a young black man I should act. And when I say institutionalized, I mean literally what I learned on road, like that was an institution. There's a lot of people that talk about institutions as in terms of like a school or a college, or you know, a prison system being an institute where people will learn things, or even like the police force, they say it's institutionally racist. What people don't understand is that, you know, something that can form your way of thinking becomes an institution. So something like being on road, being on the streets, that's an institution. It's an institution that's been going on for a number of years, and it enforces a certain type of attitude, how you should think, how you should talk, how you should behave, what you can get from behaving and stuff like in a certain manner. And that for me, that is a form of institutionalization. And I think it's important to speak to people and let people know about this, because there's a lot of people that won't recognize that form of institutionalization, and they won't recognize what behavior that brings. And so the image that they're indoctrinated into becomes harder to defeat each and every time, because any other system that you come up against is against this, and this form of institutionalization, and it's just not recognized by anybody else. So if I had something that I was passionate and motivated to ask people to think about, is think about the self-image that we are creating, and that image that we are creating, who's trying to live up to that, and what are they getting from it. You know, like I said, myself, I had a colourful background. Now I've tried to turn that around, and I've tried to offer new ways for the people that I engage with, how they can think and where they see themselves in the future, and the image and the legacy that they will leave behind for others to follow. So yeah. what's going on with me at the moment and what's in the pipeline. At the moment, for me at the moment, I have two film projects in development, and I'm hoping at least one of them will get greenlit. Also, I continue to continuously write, writing a theatre play at the moment on mental health issues. Also, I'm hoping to begin my own theatre production company, Castletown Arts, and so let's just keep our fingers crossed about that, and you'll hear a number of events coming your way soon. My final advice and any tips, comments or suggestions to young people trying to make it. Once again, my final advice would be plan your work and work your plan. It's an important thing. And when you say, rah, I'm on this thing, and rah, like, yeah, man's gonna do this thing, how much do you really believe in it? Like, there's a lot of people that say, yeah, I'm on it, I'm working hard, and like maybe a couple months down the line, they give up. Like, my question is, do you really believe in it? Yeah, do you really, if you do really believe in it, yeah, even when you're grinding and you're not getting what you feel you should get, that would tell me, from my experience, that I need to go to that next level. If I've done everything that I can do now, yeah, and I've still not got what I want, I need to step up another gear, because really being on that thing, really being on that thing means you keep going until you get it. I'm on it till I get it. That's where it comes from. I'm on this thing until I get it. So my thing is, like, if you're really on it, don't give up. You get me? Like, and if you do give up, that wasn't the thing for you. Find the thing that is actually for you. Yeah? That's my final advice. Yeah. And yes, I'd like to give a big shout to Addiction for bringing me into the interview today.